So John, this may sound like a bit of a simple question, but why do we predict severe weather?
Well, we can trace the origins of severe weather back to an Oklahoma City area tornado. In fact, for a time period from the late 1800s all the way into the early part of the 20th century, the word tornado was forbidden to be put in any outlooks because they didn't want to incite panic in people. You know, there was just no way to predict it out ahead of time. We just didn't think it was possible. It was three courageous people within the U.S. Air Force. It was two meteorologists and their commanding general that basically launched the idea that we could predict severe weather ahead of time. What happened was, on March day in 1948, a tornado ransacked Tinker Air Force Base.
Oh, wow.
After that tornado, the higher-ups basically said, look, we got to find a way to predict this. We just can't accept this as status quo anymore. So two prominent forecasters, Fawbush and Miller, went ahead and they looked at the patterns of previous tornado outbreaks, and they found similarities in the large-scale weather patterns. So as luck would have it, 5 days after that happened, the same pattern showed up in the atmosphere in the weather charts.
Wow.
So then the question was, do you issue the first weather forecast? Do you issue the first severe weather outlook? And their commanding general said, do we? And they said, yep, let's go ahead and do it. And roughly 4 hours after they issued that outlook, the Air Force Base was hit again by a tornado. They were heroes, and that really launched what we know as today as severe weather forecasting.
The National Severe Storms Lab is working on increasing the lead time for severe weather warnings. The national average for tornado warnings is currently 13 minutes, but more notice would be helpful, especially for those in charge of moving large groups to shelter. Warn on Forecast will help forecasters issue hazardous weather warnings earlier. The project will give them more info about the chances of strong winds, large hail, and even tornadoes.
Currently, warnings are created by forecasters looking at the atmosphere outside, understanding its volatility, and then comparing that to how they see the Doppler radar presenting what's going on inside thunderstorms. Warn on Forecast is an idea where we're going to take the massive amounts of satellite, radar, and surface data and stick them all into a very high resolution prediction model. And then by producing new forecasts every 15 or 20 minutes, the forecasters hopefully will be able to use that model to produce warnings that extend out to an hour.
Before the National Weather Service can use this tool, it must be developed and tested. One big challenge will be deciding how to get the model predictions to the forecasters.
I'm going to keep this one very low. I'm just adjusting the track.
These hazardous weather prediction models are going to produce a huge amount of output. And this fire hose of data is just too much for forecasters to handle in real time quickly. So in order to help deal with that, NSSL has developed a related project called FACETS. And FACETS is the methodology which will enable forecasters to focus very quickly on the most important threats.
Once Warn on Forecast and FACETS are proven to be reliable and effective, then forecasters will be better able to inform you of threats nearby. Learn more here and follow us.
New science and technology are changing the way weather is predicted. Computer models can indicate the probability of all types of weather. No longer is it just science fiction to predict where dangerous weather may form hours from now. FACETS, short for Forecasting a Continuum of Environmental Threats, is designed to capitalize on this new technology and make the most of it.
Weather Service Norman, this is John. How can I help you?
When the Weather Service issues a tornado warning now, it's for a very large area, and everybody in that area gets the same message. What we are doing with FACETS is honing in on the area where the threat is greatest, and individuals will get their own bit of information every half mile, updated every 2 minutes, so that it becomes a personal forecast telling you exactly what your risk is at that location.
The FACETS information process actually begins days in advance. Long-range outlooks issued by NOAA's National Forecast Centers highlight areas where high-impact weather is possible. As days go by, the outlook locations are fine-tuned to target the location and timing of potential threats. As a high-impact weather event begins, the details of where the impacts will most likely be are displayed with greater and greater precision, giving users a better idea of what safety actions, if any, they need to take.
So imagine you're sitting at this dot and you now see that there is no tornado warning in effect, but your relative threat of tornadoes is starting to increase. It's still increasing as the storm approaches. It's increasing some more. Now the tornado warning is issued. And so for people who have low risk tolerance, like hospitals or schools where they need advance notice, if we can give information indicating that there's a lower risk but it's increasing before the standard warning would be issued, they can take action ahead of time and have a longer lead time to protect the people that they're serving.
We don't want our families out trying to get to schools in a complete gridlock with traffic and storms coming through. Talk about a dangerous, dangerous situation. And so if parents had the ability to check out their kids and do it in a timely manner, that would be most helpful.
Another example shows where you are outside the tornado path, but you're in a tornado warning, but the path of the tornado is actually to the north of that location. So even though they were in a warning, with the FACETS approach, they didn't get overwarned for an event that did not hit them.
It'll keep us from moving the critically ill patients when we don't need to. We'll have that direct information where the storm's going, when it's going to be there, and we can keep our patients right where they need to be.
While FACETS offers many benefits, it also poses some challenges. First, the forecaster must be equipped to use the new technology.
FACETS brings with it the ability to speak in terms of probabilities. And forecasters know that there's a probability of many different hazards occurring with a thunderstorm. This will offer them a means to communicate that threat sooner and more efficiently.
The forecaster can now convey a little bit of a risk is increasing and increasing, and that takes the pressure off the forecaster, but it also conveys more information to the end user even before the warning is issued.
Another big challenge is understanding how people's behavior will change based on this new information.
We need social behavioral scientists to help us understand how the information could be useful, how it could be transmitted, assure that access and comprehensibility are there, and bring that knowledge to the people who are creating the technology so that together, through time, we can make a tool that really serves the public and bolsters our collective resilience.
The FACETS project represents a fundamental change in the way watches and warnings are done for the country.
And as such, it's going to take quite a bit of research and exploration and experimentation to do it right.
As long as we can assure the information is receivable, is understandable, I really do think that the greatest potential beneficiary of this information is the public and the many businesses, hospitals, and schools that have very particular needs from weather information. This will be terrifically empowering.
To learn more about this research project, visit nssl.noaa.gov.
Yay! Yay! I'm the Cajun contractor Michael King, and this is Home Talk USA. Today's topic is all about tornado weather devices. And my guest today is going to be Hans Wagner. He's with a company called Early Alert. Hans is going to be discussing the features and benefits of his tornado weather system. Also, Hans is going to be a guest on my radio program a little later, along with his chief meteorologist, Brian Blankenship. So, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back right here at the Home Talk USA workshop. I'm the Cajun Man. Y'all come back now, you hear? Yah-ee! Just joining us again, we had Hans Wagner. He's with a company called Early Alert. Well, I want to welcome to the show his chief meteorologist, Brian. Welcome to Home Talk USA.
Oh, thank you.
I need to tell you, you as a weatherman for well over 40 years, you've seen the tragedies of weather. You've seen the tragedies without having this information. How different this is, say, from a weather radio or my alerts that we get on our phones?
Well, it's not a replacement. This is more of a supplement. So this is like another sensor. It's another means for you on a personal level to have something that you can ground truth or to be notified, especially in a significant event. Now, your NOAA weather radio is activated by the National Weather Service, your local office, and it's sent out through an emergency activation system. So they'll send you, you've probably seen the tone on televisions or on radio. It means something you need to pay attention to. So here you are at home, you've got your NOAA weather radio, hopefully you've had it set up properly, and it's going to go off. And then you silence it. You said, oh my goodness, so you take precautions on your safety plan at home, and then nothing happens. Or it happens on the other side of the county because they don't have that resolution to be able to define it that you actually are an imminent threat. And the same thing with your app for your phone. It's going to tell you that there's an event or something that you need to pay attention. There's a tornado warning. So the problem with that is you're dependent upon the communication path. Okay, so what happens, for a good example, most of the time, not so much during Cindy, in some areas possibly, but during Isaac, we had widespread power outages. So here I am at home. I have no cable TV. I have no power unless I have a generator, but that doesn't matter because the cable networks are down anyway locally. Okay. Also, my phone, because of the event, a lot of times you don't have that voice or you're not getting that connectivity on that. You possibly can do text. So you're not necessarily going to get that advisory or that warning. So what else do you have? So with our device, we've basically designed it so that you have something at home to notify you that within a 30-mile radius that you have a threat. Then you can try to look at possibly where that threat is. But because of the different functionality of that, with the audible alarm, with the strobe, if you're asleep, it'll wake you up. You'll be able to take precautions, and because of the different states that it identifies, you'll know that if it's a tornado risk, that means there's something out there.
Your technology gets its information from the Weather Service or the Doppler radar?
Neither.
Oh, okay. Now, all right. I was kind of confused. Okay, explain that.
Well, obviously, a Doppler weather radar you see comes from a Doppler weather radar system. So you have that antenna that is rotating that gives you a 250-mile area that will basically show you. But there's limitations on that. And a good limitation in our area is there's actually a radar hole by Baton Rouge, and that's because of the design of the radar and where it's located. Also, they have a big problem because this is 30-year-old technology. If your power's out, or if there's a lightning strike, that radar could be out, and that's actually what happened during Cindy. And just recently, when we had a couple tornadoes in the area. So this basically allows you to put something in your safety home kit to protect my family, and to have that so that if you have nothing else, you'll have that to be able to alarm so you can take your precautions and execute your safety plan.
What kind of advice you can give us if the alarm went off, there's a tornado in your area, it's close, where do I hide? What do I do, man?
Well, the main thing is to be aware, but also to have a plan. Now, we obviously live in an area that's prone to hurricanes.
I can't get underneath the underpass. I can't get in the ditch and the subterraneans and all that stuff I keep hearing.
Well, normally in your home, the most safe place in your home, because we don't have storm shelters here. We don't have underground bunkers. We don't have basements. So what you do have is your home, you want to put as many walls between you and between that possibility of storm.
The wall itself, which is the structure.
Right, and you also, a good precaution is to take a bicycle helmet. Or if you have to, you've heard of a lot of people that have survived by getting in a bathtub, pulling a mattress over them. You have to think and plan if that's where you live, that's what you need to do.
You need to do. Now this is, again, not just a tornado detector, correct? It's a weather detector also.
Well, when you say weather, it basically detects the electrical activity in the atmosphere. So it'll detect lightning. It'll tell you how far that lightning is occurring, not necessarily the direction, but the distance. It'll also tell you as that thunderstorm evolves and you get that electrical connection and going on, that you're also going to have possibly a non-severe thunderstorm. Then if it's a severe thunderstorm, it will alarm and tell you. If it's a tornado threat like a gustnado or a F0, something that's usually fairly weak, it will identify that, or if possibly hail. Or if it's a tornado risk, then it'll tell you that that has matured enough to you need to take precautions.
The mighty power of Mother Nature, majestic and untamed, beautiful yet dangerous. As danger silently approaches through power outage, loss of cell signal, even if electrical interference scrambles your weather radio, you will be warned. The world's first direct detection, personal tornado, lightning, and severe weather alert. Every second counts. Find out more at tornadoalert.com.